Elimination, Hell, Quantum Scorpion. Welcome back to another Bit Legend video. Let's kill a boss, get some loot, and get weird about it. So, Quantum Scorpion actually is going to be fun. Let's go take a look at his recipe over here. Shouldn't take too long. Yeah, there he is. So, ton of attack, ton of agility, almost zero health. So if we can snipe him out quick, that will work out for us. He has a 40% damage bonus, a 25% crit. So he's a very offensive boy. I wouldn't suggest making this guy because he's probably, like I said, just going to get sniped out super quick and not do anything. But weakest enemy, random enemy, and then he has a shield self. So pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Also, I'm filming this because if we look at the bonuses, we're losing diversion. I could take off a diversion chip and put on like a block chip or something, but I'm just gonna not worry about that. Hopefully I won't regret that decision. Enemies taking less damage. I'm losing leech, but I don't use leech. Nobody does, so it doesn't matter. But what I really want to look at is these two. When an enemy takes fatal damage for the first time, recover 30% health. Okay. Restores the surviving enemy's 30% hit points when getting killed. Are those two not the same thing? Restores the surviving enemy's hit points when getting killed. Maybe if it kills one of my guys, the enemy team gets healed. I don't know. Let's find out. So here is the team. I have a lot of speed on here. I think Quantum Scorpion's going to hit first, but I should still kill him before he does anything meaningful. I'm going to jump in there with full SP, as I have an SP shrine right here, and yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, the guys up there with guns are actually relatively tricky. They have a attack weakest skill and do a good amount of damage, and then these King Kong looking dudes, I don't know, I'm going to try to dip past. Yeah, that was closer than I thought I would get. Usually it's hard to make those straight passes right there, but here we go. So let's get some SP. Well, we have SP, so let's not get SP going. Let's use SP. Hopefully I can take out the dude with a gun before he gets some snipe on me. Not looking too bad. And then that'll wrap it up. There we go. I know that these mech apes come from raid 1, but I don't know if they do anything meaningful. I don't think they do. So we're just going to try to get our SP back. I'm going to get some shields going because I'm a boss. Look at that. The tooltip says 35% shields, but if you go into the talent, it says 30% shields, so I'm not exactly sure what's up with the discrepancy there. There is the healing that we just saw. That's why the enemy's health went up by 30%. Not a big deal. But there you go. This is relatively soon after the 050 patch, and I gotta say I'm already eagerly waiting for the next patch. Things just get better and better and better. That, you know, can't wait. Guild Boss should come out pretty soon, and that means sets come out. Gotta be honest, I am not impressed at all with the support set. I don't think it's good, and I'm not impressed at all with the what an interesting map. I'm not impressed at all with the tank set. It gives you like 10% hit points, which is better than nothing, but not by much. And then it gives you like 12% regen, although it's worded weird, so maybe it's a weird kind of regen. Still not impressed. And then the second bonus is 15% block, and I'll take block, but to be honest, I'm actively right now trying to get block out of my build to put in other defensive bonuses. So I gotta say, I'm not loving the tank set. Now, it should bring a lot of total stats because it's definitely going to be better than my normal quality 9 epics. There are different tiers of mythic and set quality 9 gear. And so the total stats of the set piece should actually be equivalent to a mythic from raid 7, not a mythic from raid 6. So it's a little bit confusing. I totally get the players that are kind of, they don't really get that. Why isn't it just simply called quality 10 or quality 11? I get it, but it is what it is. We're just going to go with it for now, and it could change in the future. Wow, I can hear cats fighting outside. It's crazy. But anyways, bringing it back. So where is this boss? Huh? Is he? There he is. That was a really big aggro range. Crazy. So yeah, raid 6 mythics have a certain amount of total stats. Raid 7 still says quality 9, but they have more total stats. And then raid 8 has even more. Now, people that are in raid 8 right now trying to farm it, it is not dropping anything. It's like 20 raids just to get a fragment. So if you do the math on that, you're going to do like 12,000 raids before you actually start making any of the mythic items. So for all intents and purposes, raid 8 gear essentially doesn't really exist at the time of filming this. It's just people screwing around in high tier content, having fun, doing things. But anyways, again, the set pieces should have the equivalent total stats of raid 7 mythics. We were also told that each set piece should have its own individual bonus. For example, a set piece would still have the set bonuses, and we do have some of those sets actually already shown to the public if you look at the news channel in the Discord. But each individual item will also have its own bonus, like 2% crit or something. I don't think it would have the same amount of bonuses as a mythic piece, because that would defeat the purpose of having mythics and set pieces if set pieces already had all of the same amount of bonuses. So hopefully the individual bonus on each piece of gear will be able to improve the defensive set. Now, keep in mind, this is the first set, the first round of sets, so I don't expect them to be great. As long as it's better than epic gear with bonuses and, of course, with the total stats, then it's going to be improvement. But there's a lot to be desired. I think just this is a starting set. It's not supposed to be great. That way other sets in the future are a lot more interesting. I'm very happy that it's a starting point, that we're at least getting sets in the game, and that's going to be part of it. So there's a lot of progress being made right now. I don't think I want to use the shielding skill because everybody's pretty much full shield. What is this one? Is this attack random? Let's do attack target. Let's take out the scorpion before he starts doing anything nasty. I think that should do it. It did not. Maybe that was the heal, and I just didn't see it happen with the health bars. So yeah, I gotta be honest. I don't like what I've seen from the set bonuses. I'm not going to critique it yet until I actually see the items in game. I think it's a little bit foolish to critique stuff that you have not tried yet. So who knows, maybe I'll just be eating those words. But as far as what I've seen on paper, hit point bonus, regen bonus, and 15% block does not get me excited. Now, getting more total stats because it's better gear than I have, okay, that's significant. But I have some decent bonuses if you just add up everything I'm wearing right now. I've got 1 legendary, 1 mythic, and the rest is epic. But with that, I've still got like 3.5% diversion, 3.5% damage reduction, a little bit of dodge, something like that. Like, those are decent bonuses. So I hope that the individual bonuses on each set piece item are going to be at least enough to swap that out. But if like each set piece has hit point regen or hit point drain or percentage health, I'm going to be pretty sad about it, and then I'll have to choose what's more important. Total stats or bonuses? Usually for a tank, usually the bonuses are more important. Would I rather have 5% damage reduction or 100 stamina? That's a tough one. Probably the 5% damage reduction would math out better over the long haul. So we'll see. I want to test it. I want to get some experience with that gear before I really start making critiques and whatnot. A lot of people have already posted, well, here's what you could do for this set and that set. And gotta be honest, at least 50% of those ideas are really bad. However, any good ideas that are gathered are worth looking at. Doesn't matter what the source is, as long as the idea itself is good. So, it is what it is. Everybody always wants to do that. But like I said, we'll try it and we'll see. And hopefully it will be helpful. Right now, my team is telling me that tanking is the limiting factor in doing things like Raid 8. So, of course, we want to fill that gap. I do have a handful of upgrade materials that can happen. It depends on what they do with slag. The recipe for crafting with slag is not in yet. I think that's going to be tied in with the guild boss. My assumption is going to be when your guild kills a guild boss, the boss will drop a number of materials. Your guildies can vote on those materials. Not vote. It's like the DKP system. They can bid on those materials, and whoever wants to bid the most DKP essentially will win the item. And I think it's going to be the guild boss material plus the slag in some sort of crafting recipe, and then you can craft a set piece. I think it's going to take a long time. I think from what I have heard, it might be more than 1 week per set piece. So I'm kind of scratching my head on how that's going to work out, because if that's the case, then people are probably just going to grab mythics to gear up faster. I'm not exactly sure on that. We don't really know how slag's going to work with other stuff. I'll just wait on that. Let's do a reset. So keep in mind that everything I've said now, I am guessing. This is based on what I've seen in Discord and just kind of based on just random guessing. So take all this with a grain of salt. It could definitely be no big deal. What do we got? We're losing damage reduction. They're gaining diversion. We're losing a lot of diversion. SP gets full after killing one enemy. Restores. Do I want to change anything? Damage reduction. I can't even. Swapping damage reduction off wouldn't make any sense because I've got at least 15% in my talents. I could swap the diversion to a block. I'm just going to go, man. Let's just go with it. You guys know what deity does. He shoots stuff. Pretty straightforward. Let's just knock this out while I continue rambling. But feel free to make your predictions in the chat. I would like to hear that. What do you guys think the guild boss is going to be? From what we've heard so far, each player in a guild can attack up to 3 times per day. Hopefully there are tickets, kind of like Elim tickets, where you can do it whenever you want. That would be cool. I wouldn't like it where it's like you got to log in, fight guild boss, and then 8 hours you can do it again, and then 8 hours you can do it again. So you have to constantly log in and out. That'd just be a pain in the butt, and I don't think the devs are going to do something like that. But I think it's going to be 3 attacks per day. I believe that's what I heard. There is no way to pay to win it. There's no way to grind it, other than just having a stronger guild that can kill a more difficult boss. I believe there are 3 bosses that are ready to roll when the patch comes out next week. And each boss is more difficult. Just off the top of my head, I think the dev said that you have to be able to beat Zone 6, Dungeon 12, or Flag 11 to be able to enter the boss, and that's around the difficulty of the boss for the first one. The next one's going to be harder. The next one's going to be harder. I did believe that he said that you're going to fight the boss for a period of time, and then once that time is up, the boss is going to end rage and just completely kill everything. Although the fight itself before the enraged point, if you're fighting the difficult boss, should be very difficult as well. So I'm very excited. But the looting system seems to be modeled after a lot of WoW raiding kind of things. If you guys weren't around for the DKP system, what it was a arbitrary system that depending on how long someone has been in the guild, how much they've contributed in raids and things like that, they would gain this currency known as dragon kill points over time, and then you could choose to use your points to bid on an item. So let's say, just in a random example, you kill a boss, the boss drops a sword, you really want the sword. And let's say everybody in your guild has 100 DKP. So you go up there and you bid 100 DKP, some other guy bids 50 DKP, and nobody else wants a sword. What would happen in that scenario is the guy that bid 50, he keeps his 50 DKP, you spend your 100 DKP, and you get the item. So fairly straightforward on how that works. But it's kind of curious. There's definitely going to be some game theory going on with how, I just want to see if I can do this on autopilot, but there's going to be some game theory going on how guilds can gear up their strongest players so that everybody in the guild has the strongest raid team possible. So that's going to be a little bit curious. Hopefully there's no drama there, but there's always drama with things. Also, what I was thinking of is we don't know how much loot is going to drop. Is it going to drop one item a week? Is it going to drop a material, kind of like I was guessing? Is it going to drop 5 pieces of loot, 10 pieces of loot? You got, up to 30 people in a guild. You got 30 mouths to feed. So it's kind of very interesting on how that's going to work out. And how much do you want to wait and save up your guild points? I'm going to call them guild boss points now. Maybe the boss drops something this week. Do you bid on it and try to get that item, or do you save it until next week and then you have twice as many points, guild boss points to bid on an item? So that's kind of weird. No idea. We're just guessing, So I think it's pretty cool. I like the theory crafting and scheming and trying to think about it. But what I'm worried about is potential guild drama, not with my guild, but in guilds in general. A lot of people might not have the experience with this kind of system to be able to navigate this. People in my guild, we've all kind of played different games. We're all on the same page, more or less, and everybody kind of knows what's going on with that. So I don't think it's going to be too much issue. However, what's more likely is what if... let's say the boss drops, no matter what, the boss drops 5 pieces of loot. And like I said, you have 30 people in a guild, right? Dude, Shock joined yellow. Are you serious, bro? All right, anyways. I'll do some more while we're chatting. Let's say, all right, boss drops 5 pieces of loot. You got 30 people in a guild. For week 1. It's week 1, no one knows what's going on, no big deal. People bid on the loot or they don't bid on the loot or whatever. Right before the reset happens, or right when the reset happens for week 2, guilds are going to say, okay, well, if the bosses are dropping 5 pieces of loot and there's 30 of us, what is the minimal number that we can kill the highest guild boss with? And then we're just going to split the guild. So let's say you have a guild of 30 super high-level, try-hard, best-in-slot characters, and you find out that you can kill the most difficult boss with 10 people that are super active. You split into 3 guilds, and then you're getting 3 times as much loot across the same 30 people, right? Might not be fun, though, because you're splitting up your guilds, and that kind of gets weird. But if that's the most efficient way to play, people are going to do that. I don't think that you're going to be able to kill the most difficult boss with 10 people. I'm just randomly guessing here, but it could be possible. Maybe if you get the real try-hard people together, it could be more realistic that maybe 15 people. So you split your guild in half, and if you have 15 people that are just completely active all the time, then there you go. But also, as far as dealing with the loot, I think it's just going to be the DKP or the guild boss points system. I don't think you're going to have a loot master that's going to be able to control it. Because let's say the guild has decided, and the guild leadership has decided, okay, we want the tanks to get the gear. Like I said earlier, the tanks appear to be the limiting factor in doing like raid 8. And so we want our guys to do raid 8 because they'll get better gear, and that'll help everybody in the guild, because that means your raid team from guildies will get even better. So let's say 90% or 95% of everybody in the guild is on the same page with that. Well, what if there's just one guy who's either not reading the Discord, not paying attention, whatever, or he doesn't agree with it, he just bids on gear and wins it. So without a loot master, you can't really do anything about it. I'm getting smoked in this, although shouldn't really be that surprising. Oh, Naira's got so much stamina. It's a lot of stamina. I think I'm getting cooked. We're getting cooked, boys. Woo. I'm not going to use my shielding skill because I'm full shield, so I'm just going to do an attack. I have won horrible situations like this before, but not a lot. Let's just see what we can do. I should probably shield here, but you know what? I'm going to try to take out... Oh, we can't even take out the Pharaoh. Because Naira's stats are so high. Ooh, look at that absorb. So close, but we die. Naira's stats are so high, that means Pharaoh's got a ton of stamina, and we just didn't get it with the mount skill. So, all right. let's find another one while I think of things to ramble about. So that's what's going through my head. That's my thought process on what's going down as far as guilds and things like that. If you're following Unity, my guild, we've already started a second guild just because there was so much interest and there's so much talent. And so we want to make sure that all of our talented friends coming on over have a place to be in a strong guild. And I think by the end of next week or so, I don't know why I used that attack, but we did it. I think that the second guild, known as Mafia, I think they should be finishing their guild perks or super close to it. And that kind of brings us on the topic of guild perks. I really hope that they add more guild perks. Now the devs, they're working on 100 different things. I totally get it. I'm not in a rush. But I am going to choose to shield here. But I think expanding guild perks is important. We've had guilds max their perks very quickly. You might think that maybe the cost of the different guild perks is too low, whatever. Either way, I still think that they need to increase the number of guild perks. One of the suggestions I saw in the suggestion channel was increasing the regen rate of the different resources like energy and PvP tickets and all that kind of stuff. Increasing the regen rate of that would actually be very rewarding. But guilds need to see rewards for that. We're already stacking up, the guild currency with not much to do for it. So we're very hopeful that it is, that it'll be valuable in the future. But then again, since the guild is already capped on perks, that might actually make more sense for us to split the guild like I talked about for Guild Boss before. Once you figure out how hard the most difficult Guild Boss is, we're going to eventually figure out what's the minimum number of people that you need in a guild to kill that thing. And it might be 15 or it might be like 20. So we could just split the guild and then expand it slightly so we'd have 2 guilds of 20 instead of 1 guild of 30, not including Mafia doing their own thing. These are the things that are just running through the mind right now on how we're going to run this thing. But of course, we want to min-max it. We want to get the best gear. We want to do all that. Friend slots help. I do hope the devs will find a way for us to earn more friend slots as the community expands. I mean, we're about a month away from this going live on iOS, and then eventually after that, they're working on Steam as well, so we'd like to see Steam happening too. That means the population is going to explode. The number one comment I get on every single one of these videos is, when is this on iOS? I want to play on iOS. When is it on iOS? So I think the population is going to double easily, just based on the amount of interest that the folks have, And that's awesome. More friends. Everything's good. Make sure that you guys are joining Server 3. Server 3 is where it's at. We do friend slots, giveaways. That's the second most, maybe it's now the number one, but the second most requested thing is friend slots. Hey, can you add me? Can you friend slot me? There's only 50 friend slots, but I do give away friend slots from myself and from other high-level players in the Discord, in the Hunger Games channel as well. So we're going to continue putting the work forward to make Server 3 the best community that it can possibly be. But that's my little rant. That's what I'm thinking about when we are doing, or when we're talking about Guild Boss. I think that's what's up, But I'm excited. It's always going to be difficult to split a guild, though. How do you split a guild in half and then keep both sides happy? Well, the first thing is friend slots, of course, would be how to do it for any other guild that's considering this. You just take the top 5 or 6 players that everybody wants to use in their raid team, have them add everybody in the guild that's splitting off, and then they go do their thing. It's pretty simple. But it'll be an interesting time. I don't think any major moves are going to happen in the first week or 2, but by week 3, you're going to start seeing schemes. I'm telling you. If each each guild boss drops like 5 pieces of loot, that's not enough for 5 people. I'm not waiting, a set piece per week and then sharing that with a bunch of other folks and this and that. Also, we don't know if you're using guildies in the guild boss fight. It sounds like you are using your normal minion team, your normal monsters. So This is what I think it's going to be. Again, grain of salt. I don't know what it is. But I think it's going to be me and my monster team. I'll fight the boss for a period of time until we die. And then the amount of damage that I've done in that time is going to be added to a total. And if over the week, with everybody attacking, if we've made the total damage it takes to kill the boss dies, and at the end of the week, we can all vote on loot and things like that. The other thing is, when the boss dies and it's time to vote on loot, how long is the loot voting window? Is it going to be 24 hours? Is it going to be longer than that? Is it going to be a week long? So if it's too long, you have to wait a long time. If it's too short, what if it's like, okay, you have 24 hours on Sunday to vote on loot? And then what if just Sundays are just bad for you, for example? So there's a bunch of little problems that could pop up, and I'm sure we'll figure out how to navigate them in that moment. I don't think from what I've read, I don't think it has anything to do with who gets the last hit or anything like that. That's not what it sounds like, so I wouldn't worry about that. But the other thing is, I don't know if it's... All right, let's try to get some revenge on Naira. We're probably just going to get destroyed. But... I don't know if it has any sort of weight, like if you do more damage, are you going to get more points? I don't think it sounds like that, but it could be. And it's hard to say, is that justified or not? If someone's doing more damage, then they're doing more contribution, but there's really no way to use the damage meter without kind of shafting anybody who's not a DPS. So for example, I'm a tank and I could have the best minions in the game on my team, but they are not going to be even close to a good DPS player. Not even close. Come on, please give me like a strike or a crit or something. There it is. There it is. We got that revenge. So there's a bunch of hurdles. The devs are very clever. I'm confident that they'll figure this out. And even if it's not perfect when the first time the guild boss comes up, over time with good player feedback, I think that we'll tune it to something awesome. But I'm very excited about it. No matter how it happens, I think the potential for this thing is amazing. And I'm more excited about this than I was for war mode. 3%, I'll just keep it. But that's pretty much it, man. That's my rant for today. A lot of questions. The other thing is, are we only fighting one boss? Is it just a single target? Or is it like world boss where there's the boss and there's a couple minions? If this is based on how much damage we can do, then it kind of matters if there's minions or if it's just the boss. Because if there's minions, you want to bring monsters on your team that can do attack all skills. If it's just the boss, you want really hard-hitting single target skills. So that's interesting. This might also be a big push for people upping their monster teams. I've been telling people that investing in your minions is not the best thing right now, because better minions are going to come in the future. There's better ways to invest. You should be working on your class XP. You should be working on your chips, on your character's gear. However, like I said before, if we're trying to kill the boss theoretically with the least amount of guildies, therefore we could split into smaller guilds, which again is just a theory, then you're going to want to do as much damage as possible during each attack. So, okay, well, how are you going to do that? Minions that do a ton of damage and good sustain that's going to take you until the enrage point is the only way. I need a strike. Oh, he's dead, so we're not going to get the strike. I need a strike against Naira to have a chance, but that didn't happen. We're going to save SP. We got a little bit of reflex. We're dead. We got rocked by Deity. Feels bad. So we are 1-2 against Naira. Maybe we'll find them again. There it is. Okay. Can I even up the score and bring it to 2-2? Let us see how it is, how we can do it. It's that opening attack that just completely gets me right there, you know? But we didn't all die in the first attack, so we have a chance. That reflect didn't really help too much. Who did we lose? I lost Moon, I believe. Oh, the reflect on Naira. There we go. Also, reflect could be interesting. It is possible that tanks with reflect if we're able to reflect the guild boss a ton and that does a lot of damage, that could be very significant. That could be a chance for tanks to compete with DPS players against getting a lot of productivity. The other theory, the other option would be like using myself, for example, as a tank. This probably isn't going to happen because it's going to cost a lot of gems, but theoretically I could swap to a DPS build, fight the boss's DPS if I really want to be try hard about it, and try to do more output that way. Personally, I'm not going to do it unless my guild's trying something crazy and we want to just do crazy things. I'm not going to try to do that for a couple of reasons. One, that's not the play style that I really want. Two, if people are using my character in raids and I'm swapping back and forth from tank to DPS, there's going to be a handful of people that run a raid right when I'm as a DPS and they got me in the front thinking I'm a tank, and it's going to completely wreck their raid. So unless they have some sort of armory system that's coming into the game, I'm really going to try not to swap and just do things that way. Let me drink some water. I've been talking for too long. So I really don't want to swap. And then speaking of swapping, all right, I think that's my last attack. But anywho, speaking of swapping, I'm gonna try not to do it. I am stuck on 11.6 at the time of filming this, and I'm very tempted to swap over to a DPS spec and then try to get through the flags that way. I still have level 85 in Bounty Hunter. I do have an epic accessory. Let me just kind of show some of that stuff. So I have this. I could probably upgrade this at least a couple times. Unfortunately, I destroyed my epic accessories before the change happened, so I don't have any epic materials. I think I had like one or two maybe. So I could upgrade this. I've got a crit chip. I basically did all the numbers. If I swapped to Bounty Hunter DPS, just like that video I showed you guys talking about the guide, I should have around 70% crit, and I should have around 150% crit damage. Not impressive, but definitely doable. And I think I would have an offensive pet. So I could use a chance to attack 3 strongest enemies, or I could do this one. This is a higher percent chance to attack 2 strongest enemies. The other one has a higher percentage, but it hits 3 and it does less, and I don't know, I'll figure it out. But we've got options there. I would like to do all the flags as a tank, but I'm kind of concerned that they might change something. Maybe they could change something about one of the classes, the specs, change the enemies, I don't know. And so I'm debating, do I just wait and try to punch through as a tank, or do I just swap to DPS before they change anything at all, get as far as I can that way, and get into raid 8? But right now, I can manual raid 7 on the highest difficulty without too much issue there, maybe a potion on the boss or so. But I'm not in raid 8 yet. So anyways, all right, this has been a super long video. I appreciate you guys for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one.